Welcome back to Every Other Carl. I'm Carl. And today, I'm going to do a little simple project of fixing my drooping headliner. Now, I've tried to glue this headliner before. They sell a headliner glue, and I've sprayed it. I've tried to get it up there, but it is really hard to do, especially if you have like an indent where this goes up and in. That's always going to be pulling pretty hard on the headliner, and that glue just has not lasted. So I'm going to another option, which I personally don't love, but it is kind of, in my opinion, the only next step before actually replacing the entire headliner or taking it down and reupholstering it. And that is to use these little buttons. I got some gray buttons off of Amazon. I'll leave a link below to that product. This set came with 60 buttons. I don't think I'm going to need all 60 because only a portion of my headliner is actually sagging, starting at the back light here above the back seat. So they send you the buttons. This set has 60, and I got gray ones to match my headliner. It's actually the little metal button screws into the headliner with a screw, and then you pop this fabric cap on top of it, and that's what makes it look a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and install them. They also send you this little baggie. It doesn't have any instructions, but I have a pretty good idea of what it's for. This is a bag of just regular thumbtacks and a measuring tape. I think the idea there is to start off with the thumbtacks, and you use the measuring tape to get everything kind of symmetrical and in line. You don't want just buttons all over the headliner. So anyway, I'm going to show you the process of installing these. I'll go with the thumbtacks first, make it look symmetrical, and then go ahead and screw in the buttons. I think I'm going to start near the light here just to make sure that the headliner actually wraps around the light properly, and then I'll move my way out to the edges.
I wanted to focus on getting the headliner tucked up underneath the dome light first, since that was the center of the drooping area, and it would be the most noticeable if the headliner was detached in this area. I got the fabric pulled taut and then carefully screwed the metal buttons into place. I used a drill on a very low torque setting so that it wouldn't overscrew them, but using a hand screwdriver would be just as good and maybe safer if you're not too familiar with using a drill. Once all the buttons were screwed in, I popped the fabric caps into place and added a couple more to the sides.
All right, so around the light is done, and then I just put two on this side, two on this side, and it pulls it nice and tight here. So I think that is where I'm going to leave it. Just a couple words on these pins. This is actually a pretty good design. They had ones in the past, they still sell them, that are just like a mini corkscrew that has a colored fabric cap on it, and you just kind of screw that whole thing in there. But the downside of those is as you screw it in, that cap starts to twist, and it can kind of twist the fabric of the headliner, and it ends up not looking that great. People also say you can staple the headliner and it'll hold it up. It's not going to really work, especially on something like this where the headliner kind of goes up and then comes back down. It has to wrap around certain corners. Those staples are just going to pull right out. The glue, as I said, I tried the glue and I've had some luck with it in the past, maybe on a small area. When a whole large area, a whole large part of the headliner starts to come away from the top, that glue just isn't really going to cut it. Again, if you have some places with higher tension, that glue isn't really going to hold it. So I think this is probably the best solution for holding the headliner in place, apart from actually replacing the headliner or reupholstering it. So I'm pretty happy with these. I think they're going to last a while. I might end up putting a couple more just in these areas if these start to hold too much tension, and maybe they'll pull out. Another note is above the actual fabric, it's a hard shell that you can screw into, and there is space between that shell and the metal roof of the car. So you have some room to use these screws and go up. You just want to be careful for any areas, especially around the dome light, that you're not going to screw into a wire. So wiring can lead to the dome light. There's wires that go to airbags and that, but for the most part, if you're just in kind of the center of the headliner, you don't have to worry too much about hitting a wire. Just be mindful of it. If you found this helpful, please leave a comment. Let me know if I could have done this better. If you have a better suggestion, maybe it'll help the next person out. If there's some other method to it. In any case, please like the video if you liked it. Please subscribe. And until next time, I'm Every Other Carl, and I'll see ya.